welcome. You're listening to The Best of Investing on Talk 910, the show where we present valuable information about real estate, the financial markets, and other economic business of the day. And this is going to be a very exciting program because we have a very special guest we'll introduce in just a minute here. But note that today, it's Saturday, October 4th. We're on at noon.
Yeah, and hopefully you're not waiting till 1 o'clock to listen to us because you're going to miss it.
That's right. So if you're listening, excellent. And if you're not, well, then you didn't hear us say this. I'm your host, Edward Brown. I'm proud to have as my co-host Mark Hanf of Pacific Private Money, California's fastest growing mortgage investment firm. Our phone number is 888-912-1190. Use that number to answer the trivia questions for 3 vacations given away during each commercial break. You got it. We're giving away 9 vacations during this show. Now, the vacations are not sponsored by the radio station, but by Lighthouse Resort and Marina, which is located 1 hour northeast of San Francisco. The vacations are free. Their only request, a $75 cleaning fee to cover housekeeping expenses. Their website is lighthouseresortandmarina.com. You can reach them at 916-777-5511. Today's trivia theme is famous sports quotes. Figured, we're kind of getting into the tail end of baseball with the playoffs and everything. And our website is bestofinvesting.com. Check us out on Facebook and YouTube by typing Best of Investing Radio Show. Now, today's special guest is Lynnette Stevenson to discuss foreclosures and what can be done to stop them. Welcome to the Best of Investing, Lynnette.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Edward and Mark. It's great to be here, and hello, everyone.
Okay, now we're going to get right into this. So, there's a new pro se support system for homeowners called Sue Their Ass and Win. Don't you love that?
Nice.
Now, what's the story behind Sue Their Ass and Win?
All right, I will tell you the story. Once upon a time, there was a kick in the ass. A struggling California homeowner was being wrongfully foreclosed due to a bank error. Her bank admitted they made a mistake, but instead of an apology, the bank informs her that they are not going to correct their mistake, but that they are sorry for the inconvenience.
So what was the
Yeah. Well, wait a minute. Hold on. Let me just get into this. Okay. So basically, the home was wrongfully sold, or excuse me, but we're sorry for the inconvenience.
Absolutely.
I mean,
Unable to afford an attorney, she writes her own lawsuit and sues a national bank. Long story short, she wins a restraining order and an injunction against the bank without an attorney, and in the end, her bank paid her a settlement check to settle her loss.
So Lynnette, you're not talking about situations where the homeowner just walks away from the home or stops making the mortgage payment. You're talking about a situation where the homeowner wanted to stay in their home, was looking to work with the bank, but the bank somehow did something behind their back. I mean, basically the horror stories that you sometimes hear about in terms of what banks were actually doing that is almost unbelievable.
You're hearing it in the news every day, and it absolutely is complete reality for homeowners who have fought hard to purchase their homes and qualify for their homes, and then for whatever reason they get behind on their mortgage, and rather than being allowed access to ways to get out of foreclosure and save their home, the bank's illegal mortgage servicing abusive act stops them. And this is exactly what happened to the homeowner who created this.
So what is the the legal basis behind the homeowner's ability to go back and get their home back?
Actually, California is a non-judicial foreclosure state, which means that foreclosures are handled outside of the court. However, banks are required to abide by the state's legal foreclosure process, and that's where the problem comes in, because the homeowners, if they don't know the legal process, the bank violates their rights, and that's why we're here today, because homeowners need to find out their rights and what rights and protections are there for them to save their home.
Now, why do you think the banks aren't a little bit smarter than this? Why wouldn't they be willing to work with the homeowner so that it never ends up in court?
Personally, I believe that after years and years of loan servicing abuse, they've gotten away with it for so long. If you think about it, if I'm a homeowner that's in foreclosure and I'm struggling to get my loan reinstated, in order for me to tell my bank, hey, you violated this law, I have to sue them in court. And if I'm already in foreclosure, guess what I don't have? I likely don't have $3,000 to hire an attorney to fight my bank. And so banks know that out of maybe 100 homeowners, maybe they're going to see 2 in court. And if they don't show up in court, it's not going to affect the bank.
So in looking at the notes here, Lynnette, on your company, so you're coaching your clients to use the power of the injunction process. Can you explain a little bit about that and why it is so powerful against the banks?
You know, I can. The statute for winning an injunction is actually that there's 4 legal statutes. One of the main and possibly the most important statute is that you are likely to win your case when it's heard at trial. What happens is right now, you have a California civil trial. It's going to take anywhere between 8 months and potentially years before it's heard before a jury. And so then all of a sudden a bank realizes we don't want to be in a situation where we're unable to sell the home because there's an injunction against us. And in addition to that, we're having to pay out money on a monthly basis to fight a case, which if it takes a year, it could cost $50,000.
So, Lynnette, why aren't the wrongful foreclosure laws protecting homeowners and preventing the banks from wrongfully foreclosing homes?
Okay, this is a great question, and there are 2 simple reasons. First, California is a non-judicial foreclosure state, so the foreclosure process is completed using a foreclosure trustee without going through a court. If the bank violates a wrongful foreclosure law or the legal foreclosure process, a homeowner must file a lawsuit against the bank to challenge the violation. So essentially, banks are monitoring themselves, or in essence, the wolf is guarding the henhouse.
Okay, so then what questions would you ask homeowners to help them identify the new laws that their bank may have violated?
So I would start out and say, did your bank place you in foreclosure while you were in review for loan modification? Your bank cannot put you in foreclosure while they are reviewing your application for a loan modification, and if they deny your application for a loan modification, they must give you 30 days to appeal denial. Another law, if you are a California homeowner, your bank cannot file a notice of default against your home until 30 days after they contact you to explore possible foreclosure alternatives. And this is a law that is frequently violated, that before a homeowner is placed in foreclosure, the banks are supposed to contact them to see if there's a possible foreclosure alternative, and the banks are not doing it.
So Lynnette, if I'm a struggling homeowner and I think my bank has done something wrong, illegal, immoral, what services does your organization, and again I love the name, Sue Their Ass and Win? What do you guys do to help me sue my bank?
Now, what we're going to do is help you sue your bank in the method that we discussed earlier called pro se, meaning you're going to represent yourself in court. So we are going to have you prepared, just like this homeowner was, to go into court and fight your bank. So we start with an actual legal lawsuit writer. You will answer just 30 questions, which a full color illustration guide will prompt you to answer just 30 questions. Those 30 questions are strategically planned inside of the lawsuit template, and it will not only write your lawsuit, but it will also write motions and orders and everything that you're going to need in California to then hit the print button, take it to the courthouse, and file them in court.
Okay, Lynnette, all this sounds really good, but okay, 2 questions. Okay, is this affordable? And what do you get when you purchase the system? Because I know there's got to be something. I mean, you're giving us all this great information, but it's like there's got to be a cost to this.
Okay, there is a cost, absolutely. The creator of the system vows to make it affordable. So you receive the guide and the lawsuit writer for just $24.99. Instructional guide, $24.99. You heard it absolutely right. Instructional guide explains the pro se process and how to complete the lawsuit writer, but it also tells you how to dress reports, how to serve documents, and how to use recently passed foreclosure laws to save your home. Lawsuit writer also includes the most commonly violated foreclosure laws pre-formatted, so that you can simply select the law your bank is violating and have it automatically added to your fund.
Okay, so I just want to make sure the audience understands that we're not talking $2,400. You're talking about $24.99.
$24.99.
Okay, Lynnette. I tell you what, we want to stay with us on the phone because we're going to ask you some more questions. I wanted you to give us examples because I know there's more stuff to it than just the $24.99 that people are going to get. So, audience, stay with us. We're going to cut to our first commercial break, and again, the theme is famous sports quotes. Who said, "People ask me how I'd like to be remembered. I tell them I'd like to be remembered as the guy who hit the line drive over Bobby Richardson's head." Okay, the first 3 callers with the correct answer win a free 3-day, 2-night stay at the Lighthouse Resort. Call 888-912-1190. That's 888-912-1190 to answer this question. Who said, "People ask me how I'd like to be remembered. I tell them I'd like to be remembered as the guy who hit the line drive over Bobby Richardson's head." And stay with us. You're listening to The Best of Investing. Okay, that was a good first segment. Very good, Lynnette.
I did okay?
Oh, you did awesome. You kept thinking you were going to be nervous. You did great.
No, but what's funny is I'm sitting here looking at my answers, and then all of a sudden, you're on an answer that is not in front of me, and I said,
That's okay. No, you did great.
Well, I didn't, quite frankly, I didn't understand the questions that were originally circled for me, and I'm trying to make good radio, so I have a tendency, Lynnette, and it's my fault. I like to ad lib my own questions, and I didn't intend to throw you off, but it just, if the first question started talking about injunction, and we didn't really mention that or cue that up for the audience, it just felt to me like it was going to be, people are going to be listening, going, "What the heck are they talking about?"
Yeah.
So,
No, that was good because it did kind of go there.
yeah, it was trying. So, but you did perfect.
Yeah.
You didn't miss a beat, Lynnette.
oh, that's perfect. Now, where do you think, there is question 4, which we skipped, which really goes into the importance of an injunction. Are we going back up to that in question, or are we going to continue with what we do with
You know what? I think we should move on because I don't want to lose the audience with too much sophisticatedness stuff.
Okay.
I think what we should do is go into, give, because you gave some specific examples. And that, but I also want to, okay, for $24.99, because it sounds like a really cheap price, what's everyone getting? And then we've got to make sure that we remember to give you out your website and your phone number.
Yes, absolutely. And I did just try to explain, you're getting, and when you bring me back on,
Yeah.
you are getting a full color instructional guide, 226 pages, full color. It also has a long template writer, and that's what you're getting for $24.99.
Okay.
That writer will complete your document.
Okay. I've got a quick 15-second little mention here. So before, but I'll say, I'll reintroduce you. Okay.
Okay, great.
Okay, here we go. Welcome back to The Best of Investing. I'm Edward Brown, your host, along with Mark Hunt, president of Pacific Private Money. When we cut to the first commercial break, we asked this trivia question. Famous sports quotes. People ask me how I'd like to be remembered. I tell them I'd like to be remembered as the guy who hit the line drive over Bobby Richardson's head.
I've got crickets. I got nothing.
You got nothing? Willie McCovey. If you remember, 1962
Famous
World
giant.
Series. Yeah, exactly. Now, before we
I was
get
only 2 back then.
that's why you didn't know. Now, before we get back to our guest, Lynnette Stevenson, to talk about sue their ass and win, and
Yeah,
she'll
how to
explain
go
a little
against
bit.
your bank when they've done you wrong.
I just want to give a quick little mention here. So, how about a romantic getaway right here in the Napa Valley? Meritage Resort and Spa boasts world-class luxury. Enjoy award-winning cuisine. Relax in the estate cave as you pamper yourself at Spa Terra, or savor flights of Trinitas Cellars wine. Meet your friends in Crush Ultra Lounge with 6 bowling lanes and sports entertainment. Make reservations now for special winemakers dinners, the holidays, and masters and makers at Meritage. Visit meritageresort.com for details. And by the way, you know what? Last week, do you remember we did have a special trivia contest?
Yes,
We did. So
Was there a winner?
there was. Okay, so
Oh.
so here was the question. Almost 1/3 of adults use at least 2 of these every morning. What? And the answer was alarms.
2 alarms?
2 alarms per day, and our winner was Victoria from San Francisco. Congratulations.
Wow.
Okay, so now on the phone here we have Lynnette Stevenson, who is telling us about suing your bank and winning to avoid foreclosure. And if we heard on the radio correctly here, it only costs $24.99. So, Lynnette, a couple of things. We're going to ask you to do this twice. So, first of all, what's your website and what's your phone number? And then we'll ask you a couple of questions.
Okay, the phone number is going to be 855-SUE-NOW. That's 855-SUENOWW. Or you can visit us on the web at suethereinthewin.com. We're going to be officially opening services on October the 9th.
Okay.
Wow.
Well, so now the story was this lady who had gotten some notices from her bank, and they just kept going forward with the foreclosure, and she tried to stop them. And she tell us about the situation of like there was a death in the family, that sort of thing.
The death in the family. While the homeowner was going through the process, she actually had a death in the family and had told her bank, so we postponed everything, there's been a death in the family. And the bank was so ruthless and relentless that they actually scheduled a hearing. I guess they figured they had not gotten her out of court in all that time. This would be a perfect opportunity. They actually scheduled an emergency hearing in court, which she missed, attending funeral services, and actually had to go back into the court again and say, Your Honor, I didn't know about it. This shouldn't happen. So the system is designed for people who have had it with banks, how ruthless they are, how willing they are to break the rules and just basically feel that they don't have to be held at any kind of consequence for breaking and violating the law.
So this is not intended to be a tool for someone to frivolously try to keep their home for free. This is really designed for someone who has been wronged. They were negotiating in good faith to try to come up with a solution to keep the home that they live in, and the bank did something scurrilous.
Absolutely. And I want to take a quick moment to add, the banks have been wrongfully foreclosing homes for a very, very long time. And in fact, in 2012, 5 of the major banks, they settled a lawsuit having to pay out over $28 billion because of their years and years of mortgage servicing private abuse. But despite the settlement, the fact remains that many banks continue to violate the legal foreclosure process. And as a result, struggling homeowners will continue to lose their homes until they are getting into court and challenging the bank's illegal action.
So I like the fact that you've come up with a system that the homeowner can take on themselves. So if, like many homeowners, they don't have lots of money in the bank to hire an expensive attorney, this is a program that you guys have designed to help someone take a step-by-step process on exactly how you can represent yourself in court and sue the bank and win. Am I correct?
You're correct. And I wanted to stop for a moment and explain, too, if you were a homeowner that was out there listening, this is not trying to make you an attorney overnight. What it's doing is stopping the foreclosure process by winning the injunction against the bank. It brings the bank to the table because many people know that these homeowners, that the bank will turn a deaf ear when you're saying, I need help, or wait a minute, you violated this process. It doesn't matter to banks. When they come into court, they're not listening because all of a sudden they've accumulated a heart. They're listening because now they're paying their attorney. And so now all of a sudden they have to decide, is it worth my money to pay this attorney, or this person needs their loan reinstated, or we didn't give them the proper opportunity to modify it. Let's just modify the loan. So it becomes a question of, do the dollars make sense? And the bank, of course, they're always going to make sure that the dollars make sense in their favor and on their behalf.
Good. So you're not turning people into Perry Mason. You're teaching them how to get the first step done in any court action, which is
Get them to the table. Let's
Get
talk
them to the
about
table.
It. Yeah.
Get the court to agree to your injunction.
Absolutely, because with the injunction, the court just needs to see, wait a minute, there's a violation of the law. Because this process does not take place in court, as I said earlier, you have the wolves watching the henhouse. So who's going to say when a bank violates the legal process? Who's going to tell on them? If a homeowner doesn't know that they violated the legal process because they don't know the process, who's going to tell on the bank? The bank is not going to tell on themselves until you get them into court. And one other thing I need to point out and say, that to homeowners, it may sound scary. It may sound like you have to spend hours and hours and hours in court and that you have to know how to speak in court. This is not true. When the creator of the system was awarded a temporary restraining order, it took 5 minutes in front of the judge to be awarded the temporary restraining order. When she went to her next hearing and was the injunction against the bank, it lasted just 15 minutes.
Yeah, and she's not an attorney herself.
The lawsuit writer will clearly explain that your bank is violating.
And she was the average Joe, Ann, I guess, right? I mean, she didn't have a law degree.
Absolutely. No, high school education, that's it.
Wow.
No college. We're talking a regular person, and that's what makes this special. The book is written by a regular person. You can read it, you can understand it. It's broken down, written by a person who has the same issues that you have.
Great, Lynnette Stevenson. Thank you so much for joining us on the Best of Investing, and again for $24.99 to
$24.99. Let me mention one thing.
Yeah, go ahead.
Edward and Mark, before we go, it doesn't just stop at the $24.99. After you write your lawsuit, if you need it reviewed by an attorney, it will be reviewed for just $100. There's also packages for attorney consultations to discuss the probate process for just $29.99. All of the services being offered by Sue Their Ask and Win. Balance makes them affordable, and they are affordable.
You know, that's a very good point because you might say, great, $24.99, and you write this thing, but then it's like, well, gee, I don't know if I did it well. So here, now you get to have it reviewed by an attorney for an extra fee, but still very reasonable.
Right, very reasonable. Normally, an attorney would charge $300 an hour, and they would say it's a 2-hour minimum. Instead, for $100, your lawsuit is reviewed for any technical or formatting errors. Yeah. There's also webinars, processes for very, very affordable rates so that we can help you through their ask and win.
Great. All right, Lynnette Stevenson, again, give us your website and phone number.
It's the ToTheirAskandWin.com, available October the 9th, 2014, or you can contact us at 855-SUE-NOW. That's 855-SUENOWW. Edward and Mark, thank you for having me. It was great to be here, and I am hoping to hear from all of you out there that are tired, are ready to join the fight, and are ready to sue their asses and win.
All right. Thanks again, Lynnette.
Great.
Boy, that was an exciting one.
That was great. That was fun.
All right. We're going to cut to our second commercial break. Before we do, we have next week we're going to have another trivia contest. And it's going to be, you ready for this? At the beautiful Harmony Ridge Lodge in Nevada City. So whether you're planning a corporate retreat or simple getaway, Harmony Ridge Lodge has it all. A beautiful bed and breakfast nestled in the Tahoe National Forest. Miles of hiking, biking, horseback riding trails. Harmony Ridge Lodge is dog friendly, and they have a special forest dog park. Now that's a first. I haven't heard that before. So come join in all the fun and relaxation at Harmony Ridge Lodge, just outside of Nevada City. You can reach them at www.harmonyridgelodge.com or call 530-478-0615. Okay, so that's next week, a special trivia contest. Okay, so now our regular trivia contest, where the winner gets a free 3-day, 2-night stay at the Lighthouse Resort. The first 3 callers are going to, this is a famous sports quote. Who said, if I knew I was going to live this long, I would have taken better care of myself? All right, so the first 3 callers with the correct answer to that question are going to win a free 3-day, 2-night stay at the Lighthouse Resort. Call 888-912-1190. That's 888-912-1190 to answer this sports question. Who said, if I knew I was going to live this long, I would have taken better care of myself? All right, don't touch that dial. The Best of Investing will be right back. She did very well.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's result. I mean, for the last like 4 days, she's been calling you. I don't know what I talk to them. So,
Have you investigated anything that would allow you to have a higher quality call-in than the speaker and the microphone gig? I mean, there's so many. I mean, even if it's just Skype, maybe it's just because this technology is all 1960s.
You know what? It's tough because even when, unless the other person has an ISDN line and then I go that route.
Yeah.
But if you think about like callers calling in.
Well, I mean, nobody has ISDN lines; they're not even available anymore. But I'm just thinking in terms of because I did an interview earlier this week with someone over Skype, and we just everybody has a or not everybody, but you just have a microphone and Skype can do video and audio, and it can do just audio only. And
I didn't.
Oftentimes over the internet and from someone's laptop or from as long as they have a decent microphone on their end. That's the downside. Not everyone has a decent microphone.
Like if she had a microphone.
Right. If she had not one of these. I'm talking about the ones that you can buy for your computer. You can have a headset for your computer.
Oh,
or you can have
how do I force the other person to get one? Because it does sound pretty good though when you hear it on here.
Oh, does it?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Because from what I'm hearing her sound, I'm going, gosh, I hope the audience is going to be able to understand her. Of course, not going to be
it's
too
better
harsh.
because remember, you're hearing it from here, but this is fed right into here, so it should be a little better. So, okay, 2 things.
Yeah.
Actually, I'll bring up one now. This was one of those coinky dinks.
Yeah.
Do you know a David Adams?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, so get this. I may
Very
have to
good
move.
friend.
Okay, I may have to move my office.
Yeah.
All right. I see David at least every other day or so.
He's at the gym too?
At the Bay Club.
His office is right down the street.
Yeah, a quarter there. Yeah, so I usually do this side of the locker room, and he does like right over here. So that's why we converse. But always you forget names and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Well, I put an ad in Craigslist because remember I was telling you about the space down below.
Oh, and he's got tons of space.
Well, but he's potentially losing his. He lost his business partner such and such, so he's in the same position I am.
No doubt. I didn't know that.
Yeah, so he's in the same position I am. So he came and looked at the space, and we may end up both sharing it downstairs. Isn't that funny? So because the thing is, when he says radio, because he said, "What do you do, Edward?" And I said, "Well, radio show, blah blah." Hard money loans. And he goes, "Yeah, I got a very good friend of mine. He's a competitor of yours." I said, "Really? What is it?" He goes, "Mark Hoff." I go, "We're not competition." And I go, "Yeah." I go, "I know Mark. I'm a good guy," and all that stuff. So we had a good time talking good stuff about you.
Oh, cool. Small world. Wow.
I know, isn't that?
Because he just emailed me last week, and I haven't had a chance to respond yet. Yeah, we reconnected. We were really good friends in probably 90 through
that's what he was saying.
94 when I got married, and then I just kind of got married, started having kids, and I kind of went off in that direction.
Yeah.
Dave was single and doing his thing, and then we reconnected again after about 10 years of hiatus, which was it was, and I'm really glad we did. So I always wanted to go back, and it was just one of those things where I don't know if you have people like that in your life that you kind of go, you know what, it'd be really, and as the years go by, it feels like it's harder and harder to reach back out. I never intended 10 years to go by, but it just did.
Well, I've got a good friend like that who, and he's got a family too, but he lives in Sunnyvale, so it's a little bit harder to get together.
Oh, that's great. This was when? Today or yesterday?
Today. He just called today, and then we
That's
talked,
so
and he goes,
funny.
"Wait a minute, aren't you the guy at the Bay Club, blah, blah, blah?" And then I go, but again, we didn't know the names per se. But then we came in, I go, "Yeah, that's you."
Oh, that's great.
So that might work out. It depends on the, I mean, he'd like to do it, I'd like to do it, depends on if they'll give us a decent deal.
Yep.
Okay, so after trivia answer, I can get into your email, and then we'll spend the last segment going over what you do and deal with the week and that sort of fun stuff.
Yep. Okay.
Or actually, maybe we should save the email for the fourth one.
Yeah, let's do
So
that.
let's do that.
That's funny. I was thinking the same thing.
Yeah.
I just,
Okay. You have any kind of updates for us or something?
I looked for articles, didn't find any, but just so what's new in real estate and hard money? And I'll just take it from there.
hard money.
Yeah.
Hard money. back to the Best of Investing. I'm Edward Brown, your host, along with Mark Hahn. Which, by the way, I was doing the sports show, and the kids say, "Don't say welcome back." Makes it sound like we went somewhere. We didn't go anywhere. Okay,
Sitting here the whole time.
that's right. And so was the audience, right?
Yes.
Okay, so sports question: who said, "If I knew I was going to live this long, I would have taken better care of myself"?
Sounds like a Yogi Berra quote.
No,
No.
but the right team. Mickey Mantle. Remember, he did all that alcoholism stuff. So, Mark, tell us what's going on in the hard money loan business.
Well, the hard money loan business, also called or referred to as the private money loan business nowadays, that's kind of a newer, friendlier term. The post-financial meltdown, post-real estate crash term for hard money is private money. And why is that? Well, first of all, it means the same thing. Hard money and private money are kind of batted around a little bit, but we've been trying as an industry to kind of change over to this new term, private money lender, largely because hard money from like 10 years ago that everybody seems to think they know what it is, it really no longer exists anymore. So, for example, I remember the first, when I was a real estate investor back in the 80s, and one time I had to go to a hard money lender, and it was, they had to borrow $100,000. They said, okay, well, that'll be 10 points and 18% interest.
Yeah, no big deal.
And that was fairly typical back then. That was a true hard money loan. There weren't a whole lot of questions asked. It was a couple of pages of a contract to sign, and then a lien was recorded against a piece of property that we owned. Paid them back in a couple of months, and all was good. And that was your typical hard money loan deal. And basically anybody could go to a hard money lender and borrow against their primary residence or properties that they owned. And it was largely unregulated. It was really, really up until the real estate market crash and the financial meltdown, which resulted in all these new regulations. Prior to that, it was really a wild west. I mean, pretty much if you owned real estate, you could always go to a hard money guy who, for generally, very few questions asked and very few pieces of paper, you could borrow against the equity in your property, and that was called hard money. So, fast forward, now we're, 2010, 11, 12, 13, now we're in 2014, and thanks to Dodd-Frank, there have been layers and layers and layers of new regulations passed designed to protect homeowners and property owners from those scurrilous predatory lenders. And so, when we started Pacific Private Money back in 2008, it wasn't because we wanted to find people who had run out of options and be the lender of last resort. No. We wanted to serve the real estate investor community that now could not get capital from the banks.
Alternative financing.
Right. Alternative, privately sourced financing was in strong demand after the real estate crash and financial meltdown because the banks, basically pulled the plug on easy lending. In fact, they pulled the plug and then some, because it really actually became hard lending, or hard to get financing was really now bank financing. So the banks stopped making loans to real estate investors. Private money came in, and private money brokers like us and Pacific Private Money were largely responsible for the recovery in real estate because we provided the much needed liquidity that contractors and rehabbers needed to buy and remodel and then reposition all this foreclosed property. Many of these properties, hadn't been remodeled in years. So that's really the kind of the bringing people up to speed on, what is the state of the industry. And I just will tell you, you asked me what's new in hard money. What's new is that we've never been busier. And so we've been growing. In fact, this year we're on pace for a 25% growth rate over 2013. It's just I think we're doing good work in providing needed capital to people who have found themselves in a situation where they can't get bank financing.
But you're not charging them 10 points and 18%.
Well, no, we're not. I mean, a typical hard money loan is going to be around 10% interest rate. Now, it's still, quite a bit more than bank money, but, this is what the private investors who fund these loans, that's what their general expectation is. And there is a marketplace, and there is a lot of capital out there, and it has driven rates down over the years. It was 12% not too long ago, now it's closer to 10. And then the fees you pay, I've never done a 10-point loan. In fact, I rarely do a 5-point loan. It's very typical for us to do loans for, right around 3 points, sometimes 2 if it's a larger loan, sometimes 4 if it's a smaller loan. But generally speaking, I mean, we're making loans to people with 800 FICO scores. Now, why on God's green earth would anyone with an 800 FICO score need to come to a hard money lender? Well, they have to close by Friday, and their bank pulled out for last minute for some weird reason. And it does happen. Sometimes situations arise where a last minute glitch in the application process happens, and it's going to take another couple of weeks for the bank to fund the loan.
Meanwhile, paperwork
Meanwhile, the seller says, "I'm not giving you any more extensions. Close, Mr. Buyer, or I'll keep your deposit and then sell it to the next guy." And trust me, this happens every day of every week in the Bay Area in this tight real estate market. It's very, very competitive. Sellers largely have the upper hand, and so buyers are trying to be aggressive. They're going in with short-term, very quick closing offers, say like 21-day offer, because their mortgage broker said, "I can close for you at that time." And then there's 5 days left, and your friendly neighborhood mortgage broker, who tried his best, but his money source all of a sudden says, "I'm sorry, but we can't perform. We need this, this, and this." So, and that's more common than you might think. So, the private money lending industry is thriving, and it will continue to thrive for years to come because thanks to Dodd-Frank, banks really can't make certain types of loans anymore, and their underwriting guidelines are much, much stricter. So we're an alternative source. We're a plan B for many people, but for my contractors and rehabbers, we're actually plan A. They have no intention of going to the bank because they generally know that banks make it too difficult for them to get the money they need.
Or also they know that the speed is needed. And
speed is typically the issue. They don't have 45 to 60 days to mess around and then just to get tonight.
I mean, sometimes what ends up happening too is you get a mortgage broker who is wet behind the ears, let's say, green in the industry, and decides, well, you've got an appraisal 3 months ago from XYZ appraiser. We'll just go ahead and send that to the bank. And gee, the banks don't do that. They have to have their own independent, separate appraisal.
Another source of business for us is people whose credit is almost but not quite good enough to get them a conventional loan, but they know that it's going to be cleaned up within 6 months to a year. And they're working with credit repair, but an opportunity comes right in front of them and they want to close. And again, this happens more than you would think. And so we get applications from people, and the mortgage broker, who is one of my referral sources, will call me and say, "Hey, I've got this family here, great family. They got the 30% down or 40% down, really well qualified with their credit. They need 6 more months before their loan modification or short sale from a few years ago will be aged enough where they can now get a conventional loan from Fannie or Freddie." And so again, that happens a lot. But they want the house now, they want to close, and they're willing to pay the fees and the higher rate for a short-term bridge loan. So again, these are just ways that we exist as an opportunity, as a plan B, as an alternative strategy for capital, and it's a very, very easy process to work with.
So where do you get your money to lend to these people?
Well, that's something I'm glad you asked, because that's actually the second part of it. So the private money lending industry, aka hard money lending industry, is thriving right now. We've got great applications. We're not doing crazy seconds to people who can't afford the payments. A lot of people think of hard money as, "Oh yeah, I heard about you guys. You're those predatory seconds that you make to people."
Payday loans.
Yeah, right. No, we don't do any of that. That's in fact, we very rarely do seconds, and it's mostly purchase money first that we do. So the source of our capital is from basically private individuals, everyday individuals. It requires no special knowledge or education to invest in one of our notes. In fact, we've got 2 ways to invest. We've got, you could be a direct note investor, which many of my experienced real estate investor clients who have capital to invest, they oftentimes like to invest in an individual note. We also have our mortgage pool fund, the Pacific Private Money Fund, which is paying in the low 8% range right now with a below 60% weighted average loan to value. Very, very conservative fund that we use for our best loans. And again, that one That one's actually geared for the inexperienced investor in this type of investment.
Which is why no clients ever lost money.
Well, no client. We've done over 750 loans, a total of over 175 million in fundings since 2008. We've only had 2 foreclosures, and both of them were loans that were from 2009 when the market was still going down. And even though we have those 2 foreclosures, neither one of those did the lending client lose money. In fact, in both cases, they end up owning the real estate, and they're very happy.
They got big smiles on their faces. Okay. When we come back from our next commercial break, we have an interesting email about why a guy can't charge his neighbor 11% like you do. Okay, and then I want to get another hero story from you there. Okay, so here's our third and final trivia question. Who said it ain't over till it's over? What sports figure said that? This sports figure also said, I never said most of the things that I said. Okay? All right, the first 3 callers with the correct answer win a free 3-day 2-night stay at the Lighthouse Resort. Call 888-912-1190. That's 888-912-1190 to answer this question. Which sports figure said, it ain't over till it's over? And he also said, I never said most of the things that I said. All right, don't touch that dial. When we come back, Mark's going to answer a very interesting email from a listener and give us a little bit of a hero story. You're listening to The Best of Investing. The other thing is, I've got this
Hero story, is that for like a deal of the week? Or?
Yeah, that's what I want. That's what I was trying to say.
Yeah. No, it's all right. I just like I do often. I'm trying to. So many deals are all a blur. Now Mike and Rick are really working on the individual deals, and I just kind of oversee their. Mike and Rick. So I've got a new employee.
Oh, okay.
So
And
Mike
Kevin is still there.
Kevin's still there. Yeah.
In fact, it's interesting because there's a kind of friend at the gym, kind of a new friend. The guy's really smart, and he's kind of in between things right now because he was an engineer, and then he's had a headhunting firm for attorneys, but he really doesn't like that. He's always been self-employed, and he's just kind of looking for something to do, and obviously make money and all that. So but he's very, very smart. Nice Jewish boy, and so he was just saying, hey, Edward, of something, and I'm thinking, well, I don't know how he can even fit into any of the stuff we're doing, but I said, well, I'll promise I'll at least talk to Mark. So, I don't know if he can drum up leads or arrange stuff for us to you know what I mean? It's like we got a smart guy who can work completely on commission. And I said, well, you got to be licensed. He goes, well, I can get my license if you need. And I said, well, otherwise, we can just refer stuff. So
Where did you meet this guy again?
We've known him from the gym for a little bit. We've gone out to dinner and stuff. He's a pretty decent guy. Actually, wait a minute, you met him at the football game that I had. Remember, he brought his wife.
Okay.
Kind of a funny guy. David Simpson.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did he speak with an accent?
He has a little bit of a Boston accent.
Okay.
Just a little bit.
Yeah.
Okay, this will be a short one here. 6:31.
Okay, I've got a good hero story.
Okay.
How many minutes?
6:31.
Okay.
Welcome back to The Best of Investing. I'm Edward Brown, your host, along with Mark Hunt, president of Pacific Private Money. When we got to the third commercial break, we asked this trivia question. Who said it ain't over till it's over?
I'm going to use the answer from last commercial, Yogi Berra.
That is correct. Yogi Berra. Boo-boo. Oh, no, that's Yogi Berra.
Got 1 out of 3.
Very good. Okay, so here's an email we received from a listener. It says, why can't I charge my neighbor 11% like you do for making him a loan?
Well, first of all, we don't make that many 11% loans. As I said earlier, our average note rate to borrowers right now is about 10%. Again, hard money loan from Pacific Private Money. But the question is why can't a private individual charge that? Well, the fact is that some do. The problem is that you can get in trouble for doing it. I mean, two people can agree to do anything they want. I mean, you can come to me as a private individual and say, hey, would you loan me of money, and I can say, yeah, but you can pay some interest, 15 or 20% or whatever, and as long as you pay it off and everybody's happy and nobody knows different. The problem is that there's a lot of people out there, and I see these people at real estate events all the time that are standing up saying, hey, I have private money to lend out, and they're not licensed. And there is a law out there known as usury. And the usury laws in California essentially state that you cannot legally make a loan to another individual and charge them an interest rate of 10% or higher. So
you can make it 10%. You just can't make it higher than 10.
I think it's 10 and above.
10 and above.
So 10 and above.
Okay.
And unless the loan is originated and brokered by a licensed real estate broker.
Okay, so
that's
the reason why the guy can't just do the 11%.
And it's secured by real estate.
Yeah,
so
there's major penalties for doing that. So we only have a few minutes left here. Give us one of your deal of the week hero stories.
So we had an application that came to us, and the reason it came to us is because he could not get bank financing to buy his primary residence. So this family had identified a property that they wanted to buy, and he made good money. He was a successful insurance broker, making, in fact, really good money. And he could not believe that when he went to to his mortgage broker, that they said, well, the problem is you've got these medical bills on your credit report. He said, well, yeah, but we're in negotiation, we're settling all that, and I had this accident and I wasn't covered by It's funny, he sells insurance, but he doesn't sell health insurance.
Oh,
and so he's in a different insurance business. He doesn't sell health insurance. So he had this very, very large, over $100,000 worth of medical bills not covered, and so he's on a payment plan of some sorts, but unfortunately it ended up on his credit report as being late, and it was such a large amount that no bank was willing to make him a loan. So again, hard money lenders tend to love people whose only derogatories on their credit report are medical issues, because those seem to be from people who have the least risk to be a lender. So we made him a loan. In fact, we just closed it a couple of weeks ago. A nice new home in Rockland, and he's a happy camper.
What was the interest rate you charged?
So that one was a 9.9 and 2 points for a 30-year loan that will be due in 5 years. He believes he's obviously going to try to refinance it as soon as he can.
Yeah, because he doesn't want to pay 9.9.
Right, exactly.
What's the loan to value?
The loan to value on that one is about 60%. So it's
so he came in with
so
40%.
the invest right. So he came in 40% down. My investor was very, very happy to fund that loan, and again, 9.9 was about a rate that the lender was comfortable with. The borrower, would have liked it a little bit less, but again, we were able to come in, we were able to do it quickly and close in time. He found a property where he made an aggressive offer, and we came in and made the deal for him. He wrote us a very nice testimonial on our website. We were very appreciative, and one of many dozens of testimonials on our website.
Go ahead, give that website out again.
PacificPrivateMoney.com. That's, of course, all one word, PacificPrivateMoney.com. And our phone number right here in the Bay Area, 415-883-2150. 415-883-2150. Call us if you're in a situation where you might need a Plan B strategy for some funding. Also, if you're a little bit frustrated with the yield that you're earning with your money in your savings account.
Oh, I don't know, 0.1000001%'s not too bad,
the
huh?
CDs are, maybe a couple of CDs matured, or maybe you're looking at taking a little bit of money out of the stock market, because maybe you're thinking that maybe the stock performance over the next year or so might not be as good as it's been the last couple of years. A lot of people are looking to diversify, and we have a way and a strategy for you to earn 8% or more safely and securely, secured by California real estate, at low and conservative loans to value. So we have a lot of happy clients. Over 200 clients invest with Pacific Private Money right now, and we'd like to add you too. So give us a call.
Yeah, and in fact, most of your loans are Bay Area. You don't really do too much. Like here's Rockland, so it's a little bit out of the area. But not
San
too
Francisco, Marin, Oakland, the East Bay. We stay out of certain markets because they're out of favor with a number of our investors.
Barstow.
We stay out of highly rural areas.
Yeah, a little too hard to get
Exactly.
the loan to value. Okay, here's our thoughts for the day, and then we're going to cut out. Experience is something you don't get until just after you need it. Isn't that true?
Yes.
And you know the phrase, the buck stops here? Well, I wish the buck would stop here. I could use a few. All right, tune in next week to The Best of Investing. We're going to be giving away 9 more free vacations for answering trivia questions. And I believe our guest is going to be Hemant Desai, who's going to talk about the bartering business. Be kind of interesting.
Okay.
Thanks for listening. On behalf of our team, I'm Edward Brown. We're wishing you the best of investing. So long.